Good evening to everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday edition of DLP TV. We're coming live from Bridgetown. Special welcome to those of you in the diaspora. We have a lot of viewers in the diaspora and, of course, locally here in Barbados. We welcome your comments during the show. Your participation has been quite active and heartening to us. Tonight, we are going to return to this issue of the phone tapping bill that came before the Parliament a few days ago. And this really has been a spectacle. It is not often that we see this kind of event in terms of a bill that comes to Parliament, in which it comes there and during the course of the debate, a Prime Minister changes course and recommends that she is going to remove portions of that bill pursuant to objections from an opposition leader. So that during the course of this bill coming to Parliament and pending in the Senate, the government has been chopping and changing. The government has been adding and subtracting. There's a sense in which we are not sure at this point what will be before the Senate tomorrow when this bill goes there. And Barbadians are concerned. And it is no ordinary bill. It is a bill, first of all, that by its own admission amends the Constitution. In fact, it breaches a fundamental constitutional right to privacy. That's why the bill is so important. And even more important is that this is a bill which will validate phone tapping. Your private and sacred telephone conversations will not be subject to tapping. They've admitted in the House that it used to be done for decades. Government ministers admitted this. And decades later, here is a government trying to make it valid. And this is something of great concern to Barbadians. Let me say at the beginning that this Democratic Labour Party is in favor of measures to curb violent crime. So we do support wiretapping, phone tapping, as long as it is conducted by military personnel. When we say military personnel, we're talking about the police and we are talking about the Defence Force. And we've insisted that it is not a zone of activity for politicians, because you can't trust this kind of work in the hands of politicians, because they'll be tempted to go after the opposition, their political enemies. But I've spoken for a long time. I have an excellent panel here again tonight. It's all lawyers because it's a legal issue. To my immediate right is Mr. Ainsley Granger. Ainsley is an attorney at law. He used to be a military man in that he was a police officer for some 38 years. We bring experience to these discussions. We take them very seriously. Ainsley is the candidate for St. Michael East, doing exceptionally well. You're going to see him blazing the trail on Saturdays mainly, speaking to the persons in My Lord's Hill and St. Barnabas and so on. Ainsley, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Comrade Leader. Good night to viewers.
Thank you. I used the phrase just now, blazing the trail. Within the past 2 weeks, this gentleman, has become known to Barbadians. May I say overnight sensation? He may not like that, but that's what he is, an overnight sensation. He came to this debate a few weeks ago. He is a young attorney at law. I think his practice is more corporate than anything else. And he is very, very strong on legislation, very strong on issues of constitutionality. He is the representative, he is the candidate, I beg your pardon, when the next election is called for Christchurch South. So he has blazed the trail and he has caught the attention of Barbadians in terms of his clinical analysis, his look at this legislation. And he is one of the persons who has brought the government to heel, so to speak. Corey Greenwich, it's absolutely a pleasure to have you here this evening.
Thank you so much, Opposition Leader, and good evening to all of our viewers.
Thank you very much. Next to Corey's immediate right, Mr. St. Peter. He has been demonstrating to us that not only is he a good teacher and an excellent lawyer, but I saw him a few days ago within the constituency of St. Peter preparing fish cakes.
Oh, yes.
A man of the people, Mr. Jason Phillips.
Good night, Barbados. Good night, Mr. Ralph Thorne, leader of our party.
Thank you very much. We have a young man with us. He has come to be known among Barbadians here and in the diaspora, excellent analysis. Very charming young man, soft-spoken, a lawyer as well, former athlete, and a man of the people. Like, we are all, look, with all of our titles and so on, ultimately, we are of the people and we are among the people. Damian Fanas, always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Comrade Leader.
Thank you very much. So, gentlemen, are we going to be doing a video first, I think, before we get into the discussion? That's a yes? Yes, let us go to the video.
Against the law to intercept communications. The exception to that rule is if the Commissioner of Police or the Director General seeks and obtains a warrant from the Chief Justice or such of the judge as he may decide.
The bill, which was passed in the House of Assembly last week, carried an exception clause, a route by which an interception could be treated as lawful without a judge's warrant in specified circumstances. But after a thorough weekend review and after advice from the Attorney General, with input from the relevant authorities and stakeholders, and being mindful of public concern, we are satisfied that this exception ought not to be proclaimed and in fact should be repealed.
The Prime Minister said, after listening to the relevant authorities, that's not true. It's after listening to this team of lawyers here. This public protest, this rejection of this bill began right here on DLP TV. I am going to ask Mr. Ainsley Granger to give us the sequence of events that led to the public protests and led to this government changing course and withdrawing salient portions of the legislation. Ainsley, please remind us as to the sequence of events that led to the government changing its course.
Yes, thank you, Comrade Leader. This began on Tuesday, the 5th of August, when we, and as I say we, the Democratic Labour Party candidates and spokespersons met in our usual weekly meetings.
Thank you.
And we discussed this legislation among with other bills that were slated for Parliament on the Friday,
Yes.
the 8th.
So we met on the 5th.
We met on the 5th.
Excellent.
We then came on DLP TV on Thursday, the 7th
Of August.
of August,
Thank you.
which was the night before this bill was scheduled to be laid in Parliament.
Thank you.
And we discussed through the team of lawyers that were present, and we went through the legislation and highlighted at least two areas of grave concern to us and to the general public.
Yes.
One,
Right here on this set.
right here
Right here.
at DLP TV
So
on
the
this set.
discussion really began. The public discussion began.
Began here,
Yes.
began here. And those two areas, those two main areas, among others of concern, was Section 5.2b,
Yes.
which made it lawful for the authorized officers,
That's
authorized
Commissioner of
persons, and the Director General of,
Anti-terrorism.
right,
Yes.
to intercept communication without a warrant,
Without going to the court.
without going to the court.
Yes.
Right. And also where the act stated that the appointment of the members of the Independent Monitoring Commission would be chosen by the minister.
Yes.
Those were of concern. And we, on air, said that that section with the Independent Monitoring Commission should be done by the president.
Yes. Yes.
Friday, then the 8th
Friday
of August, the bill came into Parliament, and you,
Before I intervened, the bill was laid by and
the bill was laid, yes, and presented by the Attorney General.
Excellent.
Right. and you then give your rebuttal
Yes.
to his presentation.
Yes.
And again, highlighting the fact that the Independent Monitoring Commission should be made by the President of Barbados
And not.
not the minister.
Right.
Because in an issue, in a legislation of this type, it should be out of the hands of politicians.
Of politicians, yes. And the bill was handing responsibility for phone tapping.
For phone tapping.
Politician.
Yes. Now, on the same 8th,
Yes.
my comrade here, Corey Greenwich,
Yes.
he took to the calling programs
Excellent.
down to brass tacks.
Yes.
And Corey continued from where we left off on the Thursday night. In addition to that, Corey also on the same Friday night took to the Marcia Week show,
Yes.
where he continued his crusade and his surgical
Analysis, yeah.
analysis
Educated the public.
of this legislation
Yes.
and educated the public.
Yes. Excellent.
But what was more is that on the 8th, the night of the 8th in Parliament,
Yes.
the Prime Minister then agreed from the floor of the House
Yes.
that she would cause the legislation to change from minister to president, as you
Had suggested.
suggested in the floor
During the course of the debate.
during the course of the debate. And that is what led then to where we are now, with the recent pronouncement of Sunday, the 16th.
Yes. Let us not forget that before the Prime Minister spoke on the night of Friday and say, look, I am going to accept the recommendation from the opposition, another minister had spoken. That is the Attorney General, and I think Abrams may have spoken.
Yes.
And criticized our intervention, my intervention.
Yes.
And somebody
Yes.
said he got egg on his face because the Prime Minister came and agreed with us. So
And
there
give-
he was criticizing us earlier in the day. And then during the night, she comes in and changes
And
course.
validated
And
our position.
Precisely.
Yes.
Must have been some embarrassment. But on Sunday night, we mentioned Sunday, that on Sunday night on the Marcia Week show, Corey continued to educate the public.
Yes, he did. All along on this, and he highlighted other areas too, like
several
section 9,
Yes.
with the duration of the warrant and so on. So
Yes.
in this legislation, the Democratic Labour Party
Yes.
unmasked the lacunas,
Yes.
as we would say in legal terms,
Yes.
in this legislation for the benefit of the public.
Yes. So that what we have here is that the party has been at work.
Hard at work.
And you know our slogan, honest voices for the people.
Yes.
We've been honest voices for the people.
And hard at work on behalf of the people of Barbados.
Who want freedom and democracy
Yes.
in this country.
But I want to reiterate what you said earlier, and so that there would be no doubt
Yes.
as to where the Democratic Labour Party stands
Please.
as it relates to crime. The Democratic Labour Party is not opposed to government bringing strong and tough legislation to fight
Yes.
crime.
Yes.
What we are opposed to is any form of legislation that will be anti-people
Yes.
or seeks to erode the civil liberties and constitutional enshrined rights
Yes.
of the people of Barbados.
Yes.
That is where we take opposition to this Interception Communications Bill and any other bill that would seek to so do, to violate the constitutional rights and privileges of the citizens of Barbados.
Or that gives the politicians the right to administer this bill, to administer phone tapping.
Yes,
Our position, gentlemen, is that no politician must place himself above scrutiny and sit in a role that he becomes a supervisor of this. This is serious business. And if you put a politician in it, our position is that he will be tempted to spy on his opponents, which is
Yes.
all five of us here.
Yes.
We're correct on that, ain't we?
Yes, very much so.
Thank you. You've said a lot. Thanks very much. Corey, you've talked so much for the last few days, but we have to continue to lean on you. This country has come to know you as quite bright young man, very bright in fact, young man, and you have really gone on a public crusade, not in defense of your own reputation, but in defense of rights and freedoms in this country, and this country owes you a lot for your interventions. It takes a lot of courage to fight against a government that proves itself to be dictatorial. And I'm going to ask you to continue. Do we know now this bill is going to the Senate tomorrow? It came to the House and the Prime Minister recommends changes to it. This is all very unusual. Corey, I want you to tell us if you know what is the content of the bill that's going to the Senate tomorrow, because it has passed the House. Does the Senate of Barbados, or do the people of Barbados know what is going to the Senate tomorrow? Is it the same thing that came to the House, or is it different?
Well, and again, good night to you, and thank you for having me on to
Always
the
a
show
pleasure.
again. Coming out of the House on the 8th of August
Mhm.
was the bill in its current form with all of the objections that we had to what was there.
Mhm.
On the 14th of August,
Yes.
a letter was issued to the Senate, which outlined the amendments that were going to be made to the Senate, to the bill as it went to the Senate. The key amendment, in addition to other cosmetic changes,
Mhm.
was the swap out, as it were, for the function of the minister to the function of the president, under your recommendations,
Yes.
opposition leader. So as it stands, the bill as amended
Mhm.
simply has those cosmetic changes, a couple of errors, and then there is the replacing of the minister in Schedule 2
Mhm.
for that of the president. Following the announcement of the Prime Minister on Sunday night, the bill will go to the Senate tomorrow as is,
Yes.
and it is proposed that the bill then will be amended on the floor of the Senate tomorrow.
Amended on the floor of the Senate.
On the floor of the Senate.
I want the public to be absolutely clear. A bill came to the House on the 8th. What is destined for the Senate tomorrow? Is it identical to what came to the House on Friday the 8th?
The short answer is no.
No, good.
No,
That's
It's not
the-
identical.
It is not identical.
No.
This is all most unusual. Most unusual. And the people of Barbados need to know this, that you bring a bill to the House of Assembly, you debate it, it is given approval by the Attorney General who brings it and his colleagues. The Prime Minister intervenes and recommends change. And now it is going necessarily, as all bills do, to the Senate, and it is different. And Barbadians need to know this. Damien, I want to come to you. What do you think caused the government to change the bill?
Good night, Comrade Leader. Thank you for having me here.
I introduced you as soft spoken. I hope they're hearing you.
I believe so.
Okay,
I believe
good,
so.
good.
In a simple word, pressure,
Pressure.
opposition pressure, public pressure.
Mhm.
It brings the question, when this bill left
Mhm.
the legislature and came to the cabinet,
Yes.
did anyone in the cabinet read the bill? Because it doesn't seem that no one took the time to take some critical analysis to the
Mhm.
bill.
Mhm.
Because here you have in the video, the Attorney General saying one thing,
Mhm.
and then which proves to be not true.
Mhm.
And then the Prime Minister coming to have to retract what was said and make a fundamental correction to the Barbadian people. That goes to show that, and I don't want to be harsh with my words, but you can only call it for what it is: incompetence.
Incompetence.
So we then have to box this current administration in the box that they've actually confined themselves in.
Mhm.
They're either incompetent, which means that when this bill was brought, no one had the critical analysis skills, the intellectual capacity to go through it, to see the gaping constitutional black holes, procedural black holes that was rife in the bill, or this is deliberate, which means that
Deliberate.
yes, it's deliberate, which means that it's autocratic. They are dishonest. There's no accountability, and this is the signs of an administration that is autocratic.
Excellent. Jason, further to what Damien has said, Damien reminds us that this would have gone to the cabinet. So that, don't let them fool the people of Barbados. Before this came to the House, the cabinet would have sat down, presumably, and discussed it, debated it. They may even have had conflicting views, but the cabinet ought to have dealt with this at cabinet. Who chairs the cabinet?
The Prime Minister.
And who can we assume chaired that meeting that presided over the content of this bill?
The said person.
The said person. I want to ask you this then. Damien likes to speak of consultation. Is this the kind of law, as serious as it is, that ought to have received public engagement, public consultation before it came into the House on Friday, just after crop over? Significantly, just after crop over, when people are hardly ever focusing on political matters. Do you think that government ought to have consulted the public on something like this, something as serious as this?
Of course, because you're going to the freedoms of, you're enshrining freedoms of Barbadians. And I don't ever recall the government going to the Bar Association or the leader of the opposition to get their consultation with this this bill. And for me, it's a tinge of dictatorial behavior.
Yes.
A dictator is someone who holds absolute power over a country. And if you look at the tenets of a dictator, we know that authority is centralized in one person or a small group of persons. And we're beginning to see this taking hold in Barbados. And we have to guard against it. There's also a lack of accountability.
Yes.
Now, when crime starts to shoot up, the Mayor Monty-led government start to cast blame on the family.
Yes.
And all other fractions of society, except government.
Government itself.
You also saw the suppression of the opposition, another tenet of dictatorship.
Yes.
Especially, and I'm going to go this way now, where up to now, the Democratic Labour Party has not been given the subvention to do its work. That is a very crucial issue that Barbadians are very upset with.
Yes. Yes.
They need the subvention to do the work of the people.
Yes.
Then you have,
and you know, Jason, it's a right, not a privilege. Because this is something, the question of a subvention, and I'm glad you've gone there. It is not a favor that should be done to the Democratic Labour Party or the Democratic Labour Party by the government. It is a right of access to state funds to support a party which is an essential part of a functioning democracy.
Those are the said words I was about to say.
Well, please say them.
And also, we have the erosion of rights and freedoms in the private communication or the wiretapping right now.
Yes.
That is another tenet of a dictatorial regime. And I want to say also rule by force or manipulation.
Yes.
On Sunday night, the Prime Minister made certain aspersions that we discovered were not true, insofar as a piece of legislation involving the ID card and so on and so forth.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you have to be accountable.
Yes.
And Barbados has to be wary because this BLP-led government is going down a slippery slope as it relates to dictatorial behavior.
Now, here we have, wonder who I should, Ainsley, I'm coming at you again. Here we have, and Jason raised it, here we have a prime minister. I didn't listen on Sunday night. I was told that she repeated an invitation to me to sit with her, myself and Verda. But here it is. And that is why I said it's a distraction. It is insincere, and it is an invitation that lacks not only insincerity, but substance. You've highlighted it. Something like this ought to have received public consultation. Was this not an opportunity for the Prime Minister to consult with the opposition on something as critical and sensitive, Ainsley, as phone tapping? If the invitation to consult or to speak with us were sincere, it would have been extended to us before this bill came to the House. Is that not correct?
Very much so. I totally agree with that. And as I said on the last show when we were here, or rather the first show, I asked the question, where was the public consultation in all of this?
Precisely.
The public was not consulted, far less the opposition Democratic Labour Party. And if government wants to have true partnership when it comes to dealing with it, it must be sincere.
Precisely.
And not to prop up your public relations machine.
Yes, yes.
So the government must understand, and I have to reiterate this all the time, that the Democratic Labour Party is not opposed to measures to fight crime.
Correct.
But let your actions be sincere.
Yes.
When it comes to seeking consultation with the Democratic Labour Party or any interest group for that matter. It must be sincere.
Yes. Thank you very much. Corey, you've been following public affairs for some time. Do we often hear of a situation like this, in which a bill leaves cabinet, comes to the House, and between the House and the Senate, it receives fundamental change? Is this something that you hear about often within our democracy?
It's not something that you would hear often. I mean, the legislative process that we go through, where a bill goes through its first, second reading committee, there will be changes to the bill. I think what is challenging us tonight, and I'll put it this way for the Barbadian public. You see, Section 5 of the bill. Section 5 of the bill is like the cornmeal for the cuckoo. It's like the pork for the pudding and sauce. In other words, Section 5 was the foundational part of the bill.
Yes.
All of Section 5.
Yes.
Section 5 first established that wiretapping was illegal. And then, so that's Section 5.1.
Yes.
Section 5.2 then gave you...
Say that, tell the public that again.
Right, so...
Section 5
so we're making
establishes and acknowledges that phone tapping, let's say phone, this is no wire business, that phone tapping is illegal.
Yes.
So the bill itself acknowledges that.
Yes.
Yes.
Actually not just acknowledges, the bill itself makes it a criminal offense to have an interception of communications with phone tapping. So that bill in 5.1 establishes that it is illegal, and it even imposes a fine for anyone who does this illegal act, $500,000 fine or 7 years in jail or both.
I hate to interrupt you, but here were two ministers, I think, one saying it's been done for decades. And their legislation is saying that what was done for decades is illegal. It's against the law. Where does this leave us? Where does this leave the government?
Well, just in that space alone, they're saying it was done before, and the idea now is that we are trying to protect the people.
Yes.
But follow my thought.
Please.
Again, this is the cornmeal in the cuckoo. You can't make cuckoo without cornmeal. I can't myself make cuckoo. I have to rely on family members to assist. But in Section 5, it establishes that wiretapping, phone tapping, interception of communication is illegal.
Not only illegal, but a criminal offense.
A criminal offense.
Yes.
Punishable by a hefty fine or jail time or both. Section 2 then, and I'm going to mirror this.
Yes, please.
Section 2 then says, well, it's not illegal for these exceptions. The first exception is if you approach the court, the judiciary, and you get a warrant. And the second part of that was these functionaries, the Commissioner of Police, and the Director General of the Anti-Corruption and Anti-Terrorism Agency, could effect wiretapping without going to the court. I am hard pressed to understand, and these are the Prime Minister's words on Sunday night,
Yes.
that after much consultation with the social partners and all of this, that has this consultation that went into this bill would have gone through cabinet, came to the floor, that the Attorney General rose to his feet on the floor after 50 minutes and 29 seconds exactly. Yes, I checked.
Yes.
And declared to the Barbadian people that the only exception was by a warrant. Now on Sunday night, the Prime Minister then has to retract and say, no, it is not only by a warrant, that you can also do it without a warrant. I am hard pressed I thought about it, I said, well, could he have missed it? No.
But could they have sat together at the cabinet and discussed this?
They must have.
They must have.
Could he have missed it? No, because this is the core meal. If you make it, you can't miss the core meal.
Precisely.
You understand what I'm saying? You might ease up on the hot sauce when you're done. You might, you might add cucumber on the side if you like. There might be things you might amend. But the core meal was that section 5. So I am very hard pressed and to understand what was the motive of misleading the public on this bill. The Attorney General misled the public, and then the Minister of Home Affairs got up and parroted that same notion that it was only by a warrant before a judge. And I want to say to the Barbadian people, the exercise that we took over the last 2 weeks or so, to critically analyze, to sit in a forum like this and discuss, to take to the airways, over social media and the less conventional media, on the radio program, that effort was for the people. And I say that because I was also on Brass Stacks today, and there was a caller who called in and several times talked about trying to earn political points or earning a political victory. This was for the people of Virginia. This victory, or the Prime Minister having now to concede that they were wrong and make the change, was about protecting the rights of the people of Barbados. Do you understand? And we now are in a situation where more critical analysis can go into the bill. And when we ask for its withdrawal, we are asking that we take this bill and send it back through the proper process, because at a minimum, it appears to me that the proper process has not been done with respect to this bill.
Send it to a cabinet where everybody is awake.
Send it to a cabinet where everybody is awake. Send it through proper committee. Send it to the Bar Association for review and comments. This is a bill that needs, and it is because of the serious nature of what it is. This is a bill that needs broad consultation. It needs broad minds looking at it to ensure that when we are done and it passes the House and it passes the Senate, then we can say, yes, this is truly a crime-fighting measure, and not just a measure that has broad loopholes open up, and that people's rights and freedoms and civil liberties are at stake.
I've heard. Yes.
What I want to say, Corey mentioned about misleading in his earlier. But the Attorney General, as government's principal legal officer, he has a responsibility to Parliament to ensure that any bill that comes to Parliament is correctly formulated from legal perspective, right? And that the bill conforms to good draftsmanship and also the Constitution.
Indeed.
And then this bill, his duty is to sign off on a certificate.
Sign off, certifying what?
Certifying that the bill that comes before Parliament is within order it conforms
With the
to
Constitution.
with the Constitution,
Yes.
right? Now, if
And
he's
that it conforms with the policy of government.
of government,
So that when he signed that,
then he signs.
he was saying presumably, I beg your pardon, presumably he was saying that it is government's policy that you may bypass the court.
Yes,
Presumably, actually,
yes,
that is what he was saying.
yes, yes. Now, if he signed such a certificate,
Mhm.
as he ought to have done,
Yes,
to bring this bill before Parliament,
yes,
then he would have failed and misled the country,
mhm, mhm.
because this bill certainly does not conform with the
The
Constitution,
Constitution. Yeah.
because throughout it is contrary, it violates
Mhm, mhm.
a constitutionally enshrined right as the right to
Yeah.
privacy.
But they're saying that this bill, they pass it as an exception to the Constitution, pursuant to Section 49, which is why they ought to have consulted with the public.
Yes.
Yes. There's a portion of the bill, I'm coming to you shortly, Jason, but I want to ask Corey this. Apparently, well, you were telling me that within this bill, somebody receives special treatment. Somebody or bodies. Tell the public about that.
So, and I want to say to our listening public that there are so many things that are actually still wrong with this bill. Our advocacy over the last 2 weeks was towards Section 52B, because we felt that that was the most egregious portion of the bill that
Yes.
needed to come out, along with the political figure of a minister appointing the independent monitoring commission. So those were two very glaring deficiencies within
Yes.
the bill. But there are still many others.
Yes, indeed.
For example, as you referenced,
Yes, tell us.
in section, and I'll leave out the sections now so that we keep focus. But here you have a bill which gives two functionaries, that is the Commissioner of Police and the Director General of the Anti-Corruption and Anti-Terrorism Agency, the absolute purview. So the bill only the purview to actually initiate an application to the court for a warrant resides with those two individuals alone.
Yes.
Once a warrant now is given, those two individuals have the power within their agencies, within their purview,
Yes.
to effect the actual wiretapping.
Mhm.
No one else, the bill does not provide for anyone else to do that. Anyone else that does it, that are not under the purview of those two functionaries, that's illegal, and they're subject to criminal proceedings.
Yes.
But then the bill turns and gives these two individuals personal immunity from any infraction of the bill. So let me say that again.
Yeah, yeah.
These two functionaries
Mhm.
have the power to execute a phone tapping and interception of communication. Those are the two persons that will go to the court and get a warrant.
Yes.
I'll put it in plain terms. If they behave badly,
Yes.
if they do not go to the court and get a warrant,
Right.
if they breach the provisions of the act, the act is saying you can't prosecute those two
Which is to
individuals.
say clearly, if they do phone tapping without the court.
Without the court, you can't prosecute them.
But the law is saying that that is a criminal offense.
But that is a criminal
But the
offense.
same law is saying that they are permitted to commit a criminal offense because they're given immunity.
So let me ask the question then. The simple question is, if you have absolute immunity,
What's the point?
what's the point?
What's the point? Damien, this legislation is saying to the two gentlemen, do your thing.
In other words,
Do your thing, Jason.
do the bidding of the minister.
Precisely.
Because we go right back
Precisely.
to the root of this bill.
Yeah.
And I want to add,
Please do.
we learned through the Nation newspaper
Mhm.
many years ago that a commissioner of police was fired for wiretapping.
All right, careful. Careful. No names, no identities.
I said we learned through the Nation newspaper.
Yeah.
And we also learned that politicians were wiretapped.
Yes.
Members of civil, members of this community were wiretapped.
Well, the broad point you're making, according to their admission in the House,
Yes,
wiretapping was done.
right.
Let's leave the
Leave it there.
individuals. Yeah, leave it there.
Then,
They have themselves said, why phone tapping? People's phones were bugged.
but we don't know of any crimes or criminals brought to justice from tapping people's phone.
Right.
So we must ask the question, why was it done then,
Yes.
or why is it being done now?
Precisely.
Because we go back to suppressing the opposition, we go back to invading the privacy
Privacy.
of ordinary Barbadians. And then we look at the construction of this bill, where the minister is the architect of what happens
Yes.
within this bill.
I want to ask you
in-
this.
in-
I want to ask you this. What about all that information? If you tell us that this phone tapping has been done for decades, where's all that information? Where are the records of that phone tapping? You know where they are, Damien? You know if they exist, or do you know whether the public should be given an assurance of the destruction of these records when the government, not the government, when the police charge and secure a conviction in relation to guns or drugs? There's a public destruction of these things. In this country right now, there has been no evidence or no declaration, one, of records, and there has been no declaration of the destruction of those records. Are we living on a minefield of information on individuals gained from tapping their phones?
And I want people to understand that that is the most nefarious thing about it.
Excellent word. Nefarious.
Because the act of wiretapping individuals without their knowledge, and then the possibility of you still having that information,
Precisely.
for there to be data breaches, leaks,
Yes.
personal information being leaked out to the public because it was poorly secured, and then you're not keeping a record, and the public not even knowing if you destroyed these records, who was wiretapped. It boggles the mind and sends a chill down my spine, because it would terrify me
Yes.
to know that maybe that I was a target,
Yes.
and not knowing that my information is still being stored during a time when it was not acknowledged, but it was going on.
Yes.
But now recently it was acknowledged, willy-nilly, this was going on, so this is the big deal, so we just now bring it in line with the law.
Yes.
But while criminalized it so that you could do it.
Yes.
Well, you can't do it, but we've been doing it, and we will continue to
And we
do
will
it.
continue to do it.
So then that opens the fear.
And not only continue to do it, but to control it, because the
control
minister
it.
is there at the apex of it.
So then it basically kind of like sanitizes all the actions that you would have done in the
Before,
past,
precisely.
and now protects you in the future.
And no account has been given for those records.
And no account has been given, and I just want to know at which point do we say as a
As a
country,
yeah,
enough is enough. There's
Enough
too
is
many
enough.
missteps, there are too many blunders,
precisely.
there are too many nefarious acts that
Yes.
are coming out of this government. They're showing the people that they do not care. They're going to do what they want, when they want, how they want it, and they're going to come and tell you to your face, we've been always doing this.
Yes.
No big deal.
Arrogance.
But now we're going to make it legal now, so
Yes.
that you
And
can
continue
do
to
it,
do it.
and we can continue to do
Precisely.
it. So what is the issue?
Precisely. Corey.
I just wanted to highlight something with respect to this minister, and to reinforce
Yes.
why this bill should not go to the Senate, that it really should go back to
Go
the
back.
committees.
Yes.
Now, and again, if you don't spend the time to look, you would miss some interesting things. In Schedule 2, they have swapped out the minister for the president. But here's a curious thing. In Section 36(1)
Yes.
of the bill, it gives the minister, the only swapping out that has been done is Schedule 2. So
Yes.
Schedule 2 talks about how the Independent Monitoring Commission is formed.
It's appointed.
So it's all about that. And so you swapped out the minister for the president in Schedule 2. In Section 36, however,
Yes.
it gives the minister the power to amend the first and second schedule. So
Gives the minister the power
yeah, so I want
to
my
amend the
listening-
act, to
yeah,
change the act.
to change the act. So I
Yes.
want the listening public to hear. Usually in legislation,
Mhm.
which is most legislation, it's usually operating under an established ministry,
Mhm.
and then you have a minister who would have responsibility for that legislation.
Mhm.
And generally speaking, some legislations would say that a minister has the power
Mhm.
to
Amend the regulations.
not right to either draft or amend the regulations of the bill. And the
regulations, yes.
regulations of the bill is generally how it is implemented at
yes.
the level of the ministry. So
Precisely.
you know, you might have something-
Operationally.
the operational parts, not
Correct,
the fundamental
correct.
legal principles. of the
Yes.
bill. Here in this bill, though,
Mhm.
it tells you yes, the minister can make regulations and amend the regulations.
Mhm.
But it also tells you that the minister can amend the first schedule. So the first schedule is the list of the crimes that can come under the warrant. So the
Correct.
minister can
Correct.
add any crime that they want to that list
So
without
Mhm.
going back to Parliament.
So
So
they
here you have.
they have a conundrum.
It's a bit of a
They have a
conundrum.
conundrum,
I'm going to
yeah.
give you the conundrum.
Yes, of course.
So here you have, and again, and ladies and gentlemen, if we as a Barbadian people do not start to really listen and
Mhm.
question the
Mhm.
government, there are a lot of pretty words and a lot of fancy statements,
Mhm.
but we have to open our ears and start to listen,
Mhm.
because the Prime Minister on this Friday night was very quick to say, okay, yes, we're going to swap out the minister
Just
for
like
the
that.
president. But here it is, another loophole, because the minister now, Jason, has the power to amend Schedule 1, which is the list of the crimes, and to amend Schedule 2. So the same Schedule 2 that operates to control or to give the parameters within which the Independent Monitoring Commission operates, the minister can return and amend that schedule without going back to Parliament. And what happens is a bill will pass, we will agitate, it would be the hot topic.
Yes.
It will pass, and the average Barbadian is not going to go back to look anything about any legislation. So if the minister then feels like let's even say in 2 years
Mhm.
or in 5 years, okay, now I'm going to, because they don't have to go back to Parliament, so there's no more debate by you, Mr. Opposition Leader. There's no more agitation
That's
from
right.
us as attorneys, because the minister will do it and amend it,
Mhm.
and that will be
And
it.
that's it.
So again, the reason that within the news report yesterday, that the leader of the opposition and the leader of this party emphasized that this bill should be withdrawn had nothing to do with political victories.
Correct.
It had to do with saying to the Barbadian
Propriety.
public that even though we had this concession that the Attorney General misled the public and the Home Affairs Minister,
Mhm.
the Prime Minister comes after and says, no, what they said was not true. So
Mhm.
that's an admission of the Prime Minister.
Yes.
There are several other aspects of this bill that needs to go back to the legislature, back into committee, such that there can be proper changes and you can have proper eyes on this bill, such that these things don't slip through. I only have 2 eyes.
I want you to use those 2 eyes and later run through them first, if you don't mind.
Certainly.
But before you do that, Jason, the public has missed something. I think it is there, but we haven't discussed it. You have a debate, Damien, going on in the House. The Attorney General says his bit. Home Affairs Minister says his bit. I say my bit. And then the Prime Minister gets up and says, I am going to change this. Something that a cabinet ought to be involved in. What this reveals to us, and I always speak about the anatomy of this government, what this is revealing to us is how the government functions. You use the word dictator.
Yes, you remember.
A prime minister gets up on the floor of the parliament and says, I am going to change this.
Mhm.
The prime minister is the cabinet?
No,
Talk to me, Jason.
right. Remember, I said one of the tenets is that a dictator rules by force or manipulation. And if we cut out the fancy legal
Yes.
jargon of Corey,
It is fancy.
which is important.
Very important.
But I want to
That's
speak.
a compliment, Corey.
I want to speak to Michael in St. Peter in Ramshaw.
In the Ramshaw.
In Ramshaw.
Yes. And to Dorothy, who did the fish cake.
Exactly.
Right.
What we're seeing here is that a minister is really seeking power,
Mhm.
and they're getting power through manipulating people by getting full control of information through wiretapping. So if that minister wants to know the secrets of the Democratic Labour Party, they can use the guise of national security.
Of course.
A broad heading.
Of course.
And eavesdrop on the Democratic Labour Party
Yes.
on our work here
Yes.
and try to hold on to power through the guise of national security and doing perhaps keeping the law in check and so on, saving crime and so on. So we have to be very careful, Barbados. The power that we allow the Barbados Labour Party-led government to hold, we have to be very, very, very careful. And we in the Democratic Labour Party intend to scrutinize this bill.
And all laws that come.
Of course, we're going to go
that's our responsibility.
It's a
Our
job of the opposition
responsibility,
to oppose the government.
our responsibility is not
constitutional
to receive a summons from a prime minister. Anyhow, let's not do it. Look, Ainsley, I asked Jason, and Jason is shy about an answer. Here is a lady who is prime minister, and we're not focusing on her, for the whole night, but isn't it strange that a prime minister gets up in a parliament? You may prefer this, Damien, if these two gentlemen are shy, gets up in a parliament and says, we are going to change this. And there is no participation from the members of her cabinet who spoke differently earlier in the day. This gentleman keeps talking about dictatorship. You need more evidence? You need more evidence, Ainsley Granger.
No.
When a prime minister stands in the parliament and says, this will change. And Corey Greenwich, before it goes to the Senate, it has changed. Now, did the cabinet participate in the change, Damien Fanas?
No.
What is, and I keep, look, the term I use all the time, the anatomy of this government. That power seems to lie, and the people in Barbados are saying it, that power seems to reside in one person. And Corey Greenwich, that was the evidence that power resides in one person. Government of one.
Right, I just about to say that a one-man government.
That's the evidence, Ainsley.
Who can determine now, based on what happened in Parliament last Friday,
How legislation goes.
how legislation
Unilaterally.
I can pass it,
And this gentleman
and-
is there using the word dictator.
and we have the Attorney General, who is
Yes.
government's
Chief
Chief
legal advisor.
legal advisor.
Yes, yes.
and remain mute.
Mute.
Remain mute while the Prime Minister does as she like.
Yeah.
I have said before, and I will continue to say it, that this government continues to treat the citizens of Barbados with disrespect.
Yes, yes.
And because of their numbers, believe that, that the Prime Minister, because she's the government,
She is. She proved it last Friday.
can do.
I am going to change this.
And they come with this like it or lump it approach
Yes.
to the people.
Yes.
This is what we are going to do, and therefore this is what it is.
Any consultation?
None.
She stands up in Parliament. I'm going to change this.
But the government intended for this legislation to pass.
Precisely.
What they did not expect was the level of deep scrutiny
Yes.
that was placed or put into this legislation, starting from within DLP TV and going out in the broader public. And that is what led or what threw the egg in all of them face, or even the Prime Minister has egg in her face, because you cannot vote on a legislation to pass it and now then want to take, or that we should treat you now or praise you because you come and say something else. This is akin to a man who sets the house on fire and you can praise him because he bring a bucket of water to throw on it. No,
Excellent analogy.
no.
You set the house on fire.
Set the house on
You want
fire.
Applause.
And you want applause because you bring a bucket of water
Yes.
to help out there.
Yes. Yes.
So at the outset, and I mean, we start here, and Corey, we actually went into a dismantling of this legislation and an educational
Yes.
exposed, so to speak, to bring it down to the ordinary man and the woman, that they can understand
Precise.
the seriousness of this legislation and what government is actually trying to do to you.
Precisely.
Because on this legislation, no person is kept,
It's safe.
can see themselves as safe.
You're not safe. You're not safe. Damien, I highlighted what the Prime Minister did in Parliament. Function like a one person government. How does that strike you? I mean, how must her ministers have sat there and felt?
Well, if I was a minister in that particular government, I would feel as if you don't trust in my abilities to bring some sort of analysis to you or to be involved in the process.
You don't trust your judgment.
You don't trust. I myself can fix it, and
Mhm.
you are just there to just fill a seat.
Mhm.
Get up and speak every now and then to support a bill, but other than that, I make all of the decisions in this government. And that in
Precisely.
itself, I think it shows a level of disdain for the people.
For the 20, how many of them?
20.
Well, don't include the
Speaker,
speaker. 27, because it would be the Prime Minister. You exclude me, you exclude the speaker.
Yeah.
So we're talking 27 adults. Stop there.
Not only those
Elected.
27 adults,
Elected
the
parliamentary.
people, the Barbadian people as well, because you don't even trust them enough to come and bring it to them in an
Precisely.
intellectual capacity to engage them in
Precisely.
some form of meaningful discourse on the bill itself.
Yeah.
So which means is that you go when elections come around and you beg for their votes, but you don't engage them on the things that's going to affect them the most.
You don't engage the public.
The public.
But we are seeing here that the Prime Minister did not even engage the cabinet. So if you're a fly on the wall in Bay Street or wherever the cabinet meets, Barbadians now have a view into how it appears that the cabinet may function like this. It appears that way because the way in which the cabinet seems to function seeped into the parliamentary conduct. One person gets up and says, this will change. And Barbadians need to know, they tell me to look in this camera, Barbadians need to know that the change was made, consistent with what the Prime Minister said. Corey Greenwich, help us. Please take us back to the legislation and other areas that you have,
I pointed out.
yes, that you've pulled out.
I continue to say that there are other areas of the legislation that needs scrutiny, and I can pick another one. I think we mentioned this on the show before.
Mhm.
Section 9 provides that the warrant can be issued for 120 days.
Mhm.
So I took the opportunity to see, well, what is the standard across the world? What is the
Yes.
standard in the Caribbean? What is
Yes.
the standard in the United States? The standard in Canada?
Yes.
And curious to find out that at 120 days for the initial warrant, so just let me step back a minute so that I don't lose my audience. So the Commissioner of Police says he's suspecting a crime, and he goes to the court, he presents evidence, and he says, listen, John Brown is involved in criminal activities, I would like a warrant.
Mhm.
The legislation allows the court to issue a warrant for what is called an initial period. So you have a period of time for which you can execute this warrant,
Mhm.
up to 120 days.
Yes.
That's the standard now that's set in Barbados.
That's 4 months.
It's 4 months. In our Caribbean neighbors. In Jamaica, 90 days.
90 days.
Trinidad, 90 days.
90 days.
Guyana, 90 days.
90 days.
Canada, 60 days.
60 days.
And the United States of America, 30 days.
30 daes. Let's be fair to the government
Mhm.
and localize it to CARICOM.
So
And
within
in CARICOM, our 3 CARICOM partners are at 90 days.
90 days.
We are doing
Why-
30 days more than them. In other words, we are going a month longer. Why is that?
What it says to me is that this legislation was trying to go as far as it could,
Yes.
as fast as it could,
Without
without
attracting-
anyone noticing.
Precisely.
You understand? We all know, statistically speaking, Trinidad and Jamaica, their crime situations are over decades now
Yes.
have been worse than
Yes, worse than
Barbados.
ours. Yes.
So here you have a situation where they have worse situation is not that we're not heading in that direction. Don't get me wrong. But we have worse situations in those countries, but they issue warrants for 90 days. You have Jamaica would have removed the Section 52B out of their legislation. So here it is that the government is saying, we want to fight crime, but yet in other Caribbean countries where the crime statistics are higher or worse, the legislation is not as draconian, it is not as overbroad as what has been presented to the Barbadians.
Yes.
So our recommendation tonight, again, send this withdraw the legislation in its entirety and send it back to the committee
Come afresh.
and come again fresh.
Take us back to the US. The US is how many days?
The US is 30 days.
A country with how many million people?
300 million.
300 million people.
And that's a federal law. So
Yes.
again, you have, and I wouldn't even go into the other G7 countries. You have as little as warrants are only for the initial period required for 15 days in some countries.
15, and Canada is 60.
Canada is 60.
And the large US, 30.
30 days.
And
So
big
again,
Barbados is 120.
right. And again, the point here, because, and I don't want it to lose, a government that is in power. The DLP right now is not a government. In our system, the government has the purview to set laws as they deem fit.
Yes.
Those laws are debated on the House of Assembly, debated in the Senate, and they can be passed or sent it to by the head of state. So we're not here trying to dictate to a government how to bring legislation to Parliament.
Yes.
They have a responsibility to do it in a way that it benefits the right and benefits the people.
Yes.
Our advocacy is, hey, hold up, no, what you just brought disadvantages the average Barbadian.
Precisely.
Explain yourself here. And if the government truly was doing consultation, somebody should have done the research that I did. It only took me maybe 15 minutes and say, okay, why are we bringing 120 days? What is the purpose of extending an initial warrant for 120 days when you have our neighbors are at 90 days? Should we fall in line with the neighbors? So again, we're seeing that this broad consultation the Prime Minister claimed had happened seems a little dubious because all the questions that we're asking. So Jason, if you and I were in the room, we would have been asking these questions. Was there anybody in the room asking this question? Was there even a room? Did they actually have any consultation?
On consultation, Corey, I'm going to ask you to pause there. I believe they're saying, and I heard this in the House, that they had a consultation with something called the National Advisory Council for Citizen Safety. A few weeks ago in the Nation, the Sunday Sun, the chairman of that commission resigned and criticized publicly the government and the government in relation to crime. There's no indication that that council is existing. There's no indication of that. And I want to suggest that the Attorney General may have misled the country when he said that consultations took place with a body that has probably dismantled, eroded, disappeared. How many meetings have they had? Where they meeting? What publications? We had our Commission on Crime, and we have come up with a publication after a year of public consultations. Any of you gentlemen know of the work of this Advisory Council on Citizen Security? Any of you? You heard of it?
I've not heard of anything. Have you seen the minutes?
I haven't. Have you seen any town hall meetings?
No, I haven't.
Damien, you must have seen something.
I'm sorry, dear leader, I have not seen or heard anything.
Like they have to come to you. This council on citizen safety, which they claim to have consulted, is that even if they consulted them, let's be fair, even if they consulted this dubious body, is that enough? Is that enough of a consultation? Here it is, government sets up a council and comes to a parliament, and they're so contemptuous of Barbadians and the intelligence of Barbadians that you seek to satisfy Barbadians that a consultation with a body you set up is sufficient consultation. So what happened to the lady up in Pike Corner? You ain't consulting her.
Again, as I said, the like it or lump it approach. Right. So no need.
And thank you. And I have heard people saying that they enjoyed Sunday's speech or whatever it was. And your characterization of that is that it was a like it or lump it speech.
Yes, and
Came to the house, I didn't like it, and I've changed it.
and then
Live with
you seek to deflect
Yes.
from what is the real, what caused you to be there in the first place, to go to something out of character, so to speak. So again, this government refuses at every turn to take responsibility for their wrongdoing when they are called out.
Precisely.
They always seek to find somebody or something else to focus on
Diversion.
rather than focusing on your shortcomings.
Distract us with people call it a pretty speech.
Yes.
Working the, turning the teleprompter and just saying things. And the public is supposed to be satisfied that after Sunday night, all is well. Yes. All is well. Damien, is all well in Barbados? You heard the speech on Sunday?
I heard the speech.
You heard it. Tell, how do you characterize it?
Well,
if you have praise, give it. If you have criticism, give it.
If you have praise to give, yes, give. If you have criticism to give, well, this is my thing about the Prime Minister's speech. A fountain cannot give off both sweet and bitter water at the same time.
Beautifully said.
Because here you are praising the commission, the DLP commission about its efforts,
yes,
comprehensive the report was, and that there are things that you were going to implement, or there are things already that you've looked at and are in the process of implementing them. But then give us this, damn if I do, damn if I don't attitude.
Yes.
Or we bring something, you don't want that. We bring this, you don't want that. That is not what we were saying. Like Comrade Corey was saying, we support the legislation of interception of communication. But it cannot be a legislation that is full of constitutional black holes.
Precisely.
It cannot be a a legislation that infringes on the right, especially the constitutional right to privacy. Correct. This legislation itself is not just your average prohibition and then punishment. This is a serious legislation that fetters the right to someone's privacy. Yeah.
It is invasive.
So it has to have this more added scrutiny. Yes. And then if for some reason, because when I last checked, the Attorney General is a lawyer, the Prime Minister is a lawyer. So when you read this, did you not see the things that these other lawyers here saw?
We're not super people.
But then you can come on you can come on TV and then you're going to say, oh, well, we take it into consultation, we like it, and there's all these fancy innuendos and words and stuff like that. There's the political lip service is tiring.
Precisely.
It is tiring. The
injury has been done.
It has been done, and no matter amount of fancy words and eloquent speeches is going to take away what you tried to do and failed miserably, because this party had bright minds that sat down and scrutinized the legislation. It's like, whoa, there's something wrong here. But then to want to delegitimize what we have brought to you.
Precisely.
And say that, listen, this is wrong.
Precisely.
Can't give both sweet and bitter water at the same time.
Damien, I have some sweet water for you. Vihoy, you can't see it, but I'm going to read it. Vihoy says, I love Damien. Hard-hitting as always, and extremely insightful. Sweet water. And it is the truth too.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you.
Vihoy is a man or woman? He said, sir, it's Veronica or Vincent?
You know what?
Vihoy, you have to tell us who you are.
That's my bad. I apologize.
No, that's fine. We don't know. We don't know. And the interpretation act would say the male includes the female. So whoever Vihoy is. But thanks, Vihoy, for coming in. We can get some more messages from our viewers. We like viewer participation. We'll come to them. Corey, I'm going to come back to you very shortly for some more of your interventions. If you're ready, go right ahead, please.
All right, so I will pick another one that seems to be a bit glaring. The Independent Monitoring Commission, and I think we've mentioned this before. They are the backstop, as it were, with respect to the functions of the Act. In other words, they have full investigative power. in order to determine if there has been a breach of the act.
This is the IMC,
The
Independent Monitoring Commission.
Correct.
Yes.
But what I have noticed is that the commission does not have any teeth. So if the commission goes into the purview of the commissioner of police and they investigate what they suspect to be a breach of the act, and they find that there has been a violation of the act, that there is a breach, the only thing that the act provides for the commission, the only teeth that the act gives to the commission is to serve notice to the commissioner of police to say, basically the notice to say, hey, I found something wrong, please stop.
Yes.
But the thing about it is that if in fact the commissioner of police or the director general, let's say for example, effects a phone tapping without a warrant, that is a significant breach of the legislation, because they have to do it now according to the amendment that is supposed to be going to the Senate tomorrow.
Yes.
It must do it with a warrant.
Yes.
So what if the Independent Monitoring Commission finds that for example, the Director General effects a wiretapping on John Brown without a warrant? The bill does not give the Independent Monitoring Commission the ability to refer that infraction of the bill to the Director of Public Prosecution.
Correct.
Because it is now a criminal offense with a heavy fine.
But they have immunity, don't they?
And they have immunity.
Precisely.
So
that's
really,
why you say they have no teeth.
they have no.
Because the same legislation that criminalizes anyone who does an infraction within the act gives them immunity.
Gives them immunity, which means that the structure or the framework of accountability really is just smoke and mirrors.
Precisely.
It's really just smoke and mirrors.
Precisely.
And I will repeat again, every time I give one of these, I'll repeat. This is why the Democratic Labour Party, led by the opposition leader, is asking for this bill to be withdrawn in its entirety and go back to through the process of proper legislative drafting, proper debate, proper consultation, such that all of these loopholes and circular provisions can be done away with. What I smiled when Damien mentioned sweet water and bitter water coming out of the same fountain. I think that he may have gone a few decades beyond his age with that analogy. So I smiled.
He's a wise young man.
He's a wise young man. But I hang on to his coattails and that comment to say the address of the Prime Minister on Sunday night was one to give the public comfort. Oh, we listen. And we are now going to do what is right, even though you should have gone through cabinet and know that.
Is that an admission that you did what was wrong?
Correct. Of course, it's an admission. And the video that we showed at the beginning of the program demonstrate that they acted improperly. But I was making the point to say that those lovely, sweet words that are coming from the Prime Minister is to appease the debate. You see. It is to
appease them,
to appease the debate that has gone before, to kind of nullify what we're saying, to give a false sense of, okay, we're now going to do the right thing. No, sir. No, Barbadian public. There are several other issues within the bill. And until we get this bill back to proper consultation and proper legislative drafting, such that members of society like the Bar Association, the trade unions can comment on this bill properly, I think it should not go before the Senate for passage tomorrow.
Yes. Kamhar, what's Kamhar saying? This is yet, they're hiding it from me. Kamhar, you're saying this is yet another important point that Corey is highlighting about that bill. Yes, Kamhar, we agree with you. You've done tremendous work, Corey. In relation to this, we had Ryan Rock saying something as well. All of this must be shameful for the AG because, well, that should be he. Or she did not. Oh, she did not throw him.
She did.
She did throw him under the bus in that address to the nation. Jason, she threw the poor man under the bus.
Oh yes, because he came up early, said one thing. As though it was the gospel.
Yes.
And then
the gospel according to
him as the savior.
Yes. Oh yes.
Projected herself as the savior.
I'm here to save the nation.
Oh yes. She does it all the time.
unilateral intervention, change the law on the floor of Parliament, Corey Greenwich, and all is well.
I'm actually going to disagree with both of you. I do not believe that she threw him under the bus.
Okay, I didn't hear it, so that's
fine. No, I think that he was
under the bus
a long time.
Under the ground.
That is where from the time he.
Or she helped him to stay under the bus.
No, I think what.
She threw under the bus.
No, I mean, we don't. I think what.
Corey, don't let him interrupt you.
I mean, we smile at this, but there's nothing light about it. I don't think that she threw him under the bus. I actually believe that she threw her entire administration under the bus,
including herself.
And that is the trick there. And I think you said it. This persona now, as if, oh, I will now come and make all the wrong things right. No, ma'am. You were at the head of this full operation because it starts in the cabinet for a proposal for the bill.
So Corey, you're talking about extrication. She tries to extricate herself.
Correct.
I'm the savior. We're all under the bus, according to you. But I'm going to extricate myself from under the bus and leave them. And you come out as the knight in shining armor.
And I will go even further to say they remain under the bus if they bring this legislation to the Senate tomorrow.
And that's what
it must. And I keep emphasizing that. Do not let us now retreat because the Prime Minister has presented a carrot. Our position remains. This bill has a lot of loopholes, flaws within the bill, and we need it to come back for proper consultation and proper legislative process. It is not enough to just say, okay, stop all the noise now stop all the noise in the country. I've heard your debate, I've heard your protest. Some people were marching from Kensington up to Independence. Okay, stop now. And that's kind of the tenor that I got last night is like, okay, pipe down now, I will come and do the
You know, I'm glad you've made that point, Corey. Because I'm coming to you, Ainsley.
Yeah.
What Corey is in effect saying is that what is heading to the Senate tomorrow is still flawed.
Most definitely.
So there's been no cure. No. So Barbadians can't rest easily after Sunday night's intervention. No. The bill is still deeply flawed at this stage, Ainsley. So what are they going to and disturbing the People's Senate for tomorrow?
Right, the bill is flawed. And what was debated in the House of Assembly is not what is going to the Senate.
Precisely.
So, I mean, I must agree.
So what good has been done?
No good has been done.
Corey.
And I have a question for the government tonight. Simply put, what is the rush? Is there
excellent point?
Is there some crime out there right now that is being committed that needs to have this wiretapping done to the extent that if you don't get this through the Senate tomorrow, we're going to be disadvantaged? The point I'm making.
Or is there some phone tapping being done that you need to give legitimacy to?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
The point I'm making, and I think the point that we've been trying to make, is that with a legislation with such serious ramifications, take time, take the proper process to ensure that yes, we fight crime, but yes, we protect the rights of the average Barbadian. We protect the rights of the lawyers who will be having conversations with this criminal element. Remember, criminals have their lawyers, they're going to pick up the phone and talk to them. And mind you, every conversation that a lawyer has come under privilege. So again, to reporters, to trade unionists, this is such doctors, these are such serious pieces of legislation that you're now trying to implement, and yet it seems that it is a gallop through the House where the Attorney General seems comfortable to mislead the Parliament, and the Home Affairs Minister gets up and sings in chorus and sings off key, quite frankly, and then you're now galloping down to the Senate as if there's some grand emergency. No, the Barbadian people have spoken. This party has come with reason analytical approach. In other words, we're not just a man in the wilderness, just talking because we can talk. No, we have taken time to look at the bill, and we're saying to this government, bring the bill back for the good of the people. Let it go through a proper process. such that when it does come as a
Correct.
common sense measure of fighting crime,
Yes.
the Barbadian public can be assured that their rights are protected.
I want to read Rosalind Corbin. Rosalind, thanks. Mrs. Corbin, thanks so much for writing in. We have been made aware of the flaws in the bill. It isn't that I can't read. This thing is far away. We have been made aware. Thanks for making it larger. We've been made aware of the flaws in the bill. What are the flaws in the processes and procedures? Who should be held responsible? Who is going to answer? Who's going to take responsibility for the answer? We've been made aware of the flaws in the bill. What are the flaws in the process and processes and procedures? And I think we spoke about the processes and procedures. Who should be held responsible? Damien, I'm coming to you with that one. Who should be held responsible? Corey has told us that this thing is going to raise the Senate hearing tomorrow. And he has reminded the public that what is going to the Senate is still flawed. Who bears responsibility?
Well, the body can't be good in the head. You know what I mean? If anything, if the head bad,
Whole body bad.
the whole body bad.
Yes. Yes.
So I think that everything falls on her. There was a president, it might be either Truman or LBJ, that says the buck stops with me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So which means that I take the blame. I as the leader take the blame.
Yes. Yes.
Because the same way that it came to cabinet, you are the leader
Precise.
of cabinet. You should have read this.
Yes.
You're an attorney at law.
Yes.
We all learn the same legal principles that UBK feel,
Mhm.
or the same principles are also transposed from the UK. So there's still an intersection where that you can say, well, you should know enough that you could be able to pick out the flaws in this bill. So it meant that you didn't read it. You didn't give the people the respect and the time to read it. But then when you were called out on it, you
Yes.
then don't have to backpedal disingenuously
Yes.
from the message that you sent Sunday.
Yes.
Right? Just call it for what it is. We messed up, and I take full responsibility rather than throw two buses on top of your attorney general and then expect that you just, it absolves you of your sins.
Is tomorrow's Senate sitting then? Should Barbadians be satisfied that tomorrow's Senate sitting has cured anything or will cure anything? What do you think, Corey?
I think the short answer is no.
Doesn't cure anything.
As it is my understanding, and given the comments of the Prime Minister on Sunday night, the only amendment that will be on the floor of the Senate tomorrow will be the amendment to remove Section 5(2)(b) from the Act. But again, as I go through, I will point out another flaw. For example, Section 34 requires the Commissioner of Police to send an annual report to the Independent Monitoring Commission. And I think I might have mentioned this before. Of a curious thing, however, the Director General is not required to send an annual report. So in everywhere else in the bill, those two gentlemen are connected at the hip.
Yes.
But when it comes to reporting to the Independent Monitoring Commission, only the Commissioner of Police is named as having to give a report to the Independent Monitoring Commission. Again, another flaw in the bill. It opens up almost like you kind of close one eye and lean your head and say, but why is that? You have a functionary that does not have to report to the very body that's monitoring. So again, another area of the bill that requires discussion, requires accountability, and quite frankly, requires amendment.
Ainsley, I want to come. Thanks, Corey. Ainsley, I want to come to you again. You spent 38 years in what used to be the Royal Barbados Police Service, now the Royal Barbados Police Force, now the Barbados Police Service. I want you to speak on behalf of this party. Is this party supporting a position that if phone tapping is necessary, it should be done by the Barbados Police Service and not by any other entity? Certainly not a politician. As a former police officer, I want you to reiterate the party's position clearly for the public.
The party's position is, where this legislation is concerned, that the main players in this legislation must be your primary law enforcement agency.
Correct. And that is?
The Barbados Police Service.
Thank you very much.
And not oversight by any minister or politician for that matter.
Correct.
That is the Democratic Labour Party's position on this? That anything dealing with the investigation, the interception, what have you, must be. It is a crime, therefore your primary law enforcement agency, those who are given the authority to investigate crime, which is the Barbados Police Service, are primarily charged with the responsibility and not any minister or politician for that matter.
Jason, we're going to remind the public that there's a schedule in this legislation which says that one of the crimes that you can do surveillance on is corruption, Prevention of Corruption Act. And that act pertains to politicians and public officials. If you place a politician in a position in this legislation in which he has a supervisory function, the power to appoint and the power to determine people's pay, is this not placing that particular politician above surveillance, above the scrutiny of the legislation?
Of course it is, and not only that, also potentially giving the politician the license to be corrupt. Because if you're going to be in charge of those people who are scrutinizing and surveilling people, and you yourself start being scrutinized, then you can do as you like. And Barbadians must not allow this nonsense to take place, right? And we must also consider the fundamentals. At the end of the day, has wiretapping assisted Barbados in the past? We must look at the history of it. When we look at the history of wiretapping in Barbados, we have not seen any fundamental good come of it because it was not done properly in the first place.
Yes.
It was done illegally.
Yes.
Now they're trying to legitimize it. They have gone about it the wrong way. As far as I'm concerned, the bill as it is should be scrapped.
Yes.
They should go back to the lower house and debate this bill all over again and come with a proper bill for the citizens of this country.
Excellent. Ryan Rock must be your twin. Ryan Rock is saying, send it back and start over, Mia. We don't want it. And that is the Democratic Labour Party's position, is it not, Damien? Send it back. And bring a law that will satisfy the people of this country that you're genuinely going after the criminal element and not spying on your political opponent.
And they show that you made some effort to give something that is able to, there's no such thing as perfect legislation, but there can be good enough to provide a function that helps protect the people. All we just want is the effort.
Yes, indeed. You just want the effort.
But Comrade Leader, we look in recent times at the type of legislation that is being passed or put forward by this government. And there seems to be an appetite to suppressing opinions of the people.
Yes.
You look at the cybercrime bill.
Cybercrime. That was, you read in my mind, actually.
Right.
You go on.
And carrying with it heavy fines.
Yes. Heavy, $70,000.
Heavy fines.
For creating something called a meme.
That the ordinary man cannot find.
Yeah, well, it's to make him explain.
You come in now with this, TINT.
Yeah.
Which came at the outset. I want money.
You sound good.
Right? I tell my AG I don't want a prosecution. I want money. Then suddenly, TINT is tagged onto crime.
Yes.
Or the police asks for it.
And they just don't like it because it is criminalizing a lot of innocent people.
Right. And
people
with that,
about it, they're trembling. Some people in this hot weather rolling down their windows because they don't want the police to see how dark the tint is. Yeah, that's happening. I interrupted you. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
And with that, again, fines. The interception of communication, suppressing, an attempt to suppress,
Yes.
to suppress to silence people. And they know this want to come where if you refuse to assist the police in arrest, $10,000.
Again.
So
The public.
So the public must see that this government is not for you. This is anti-people government.
Shirley's gone. Shirley is our friend from Canada. Shirley, you're very kind. The PM wants to control everything as usual. She has probably underestimated Mr. Thorne and his team unknowingly to her. Thank you very much, Shirley. You're very kind. But we're just doing the people's business. Ainsley was coming on to what you raised, the link between the cybercrime bill and phone tapping. We haven't touched lie detection because this government has been talking about lie detector tests.
Yes.
And I understand they've been trying to do it in a few departments of state. I'm not going to say departments of government, departments of state. Any comments on lie detection for lawyers?
It's not infallible.
Not infallible.
Well, it's not perfect.
It's not perfect.
It's not perfect.
Proves nothing.
It proves nothing, and depending on
It may only prove that you're nervous.
Yeah, depending on your state, your psychological state of mind, and your physiological responses, you could give off a lot of false positives.
Precisely. Precisely.
And one other thing that I want to add on to what is
Yes,
saying,
please.
we spoke about the legislation that's coming that is depressing the people. There's one other thing that terrifies me that is being talked about, and I'm hearing about the powers of arrest going to military personnel.
Oh yes. Again, add that to the list.
As Jason was saying, the tenet of autocratic governments, also one of them is when they're quick to deploy the military
yes.
onto its people.
Yes.
Because what people don't understand, well, what they might take for granted is that police and soldiers are two different types of creatures.
Yes.
Well, that
different training.
Well, officers have the powers of arrest. They're not only arresting officers. Every situation will not end in arrest. They also engage in de-escalation.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So that might happen in terms of like situations of mental health
it's
crisis.
Police officers.
Right. Police
yes,
officers or even domestic situations. But soldiers are a different type of personnel. They're a wartime personnel. While police might be the last resort, might be deadly force, a soldier is trained to respond with deadly force.
Yes.
Their training is totally different. So then when you talk about deploying the people, deploying the army on the people, that would terrify me, especially if knowing that their functions are totally different from the police itself.
So that what you're saying is that the deployment of the army is a statement of the government's intent.
And
press you back.
But you should only see the deployment of military personnel in situations where the situation has escalated beyond the control of the police. So that might be in situations of civil unrest, maybe insurrection, coups, or even an invasion by a foreign power. So they then come and give the army the powers to arrest people. I could see a lot of constitutional abuses and challenges coming out. I'm not saying that our Barbados Defence Force are excessive, angry, types of people that will go to the way to purposely abuse constitutional rights, but it opens the window for it
to that kind of behavior. You wanted to say something, Jason. I saw you.
I was just thinking about the arresting of citizens where they do not assist the police in arresting. That law does not give any exceptions. For example, if you're not feeling well that day, if you have if you have an injury, for example, your back is injured, and you really can't have the police, and the police ask for your assistance, and you.
But what about just fearing for your life? What about you? You see a situation where
Yes.
it's out of the police hands. You might genuinely want to get involved. But
Precisely.
you fear for your life.
Precisely.
You fear that you will get seriously hurt because you're not trained to respond like a police.
Correct.
So then what do you do?
Ainsley, where is all this anti-people legislation coming from? I mean, we know where it is coming from, but look, Jason and Damien are talking about autocratic government. And we have to take them at their word. That is what it feels like. But surely a government is sensitive to the feelings of people, that people want their freedoms, and cybercrime, TINT.
Absolute power.
Absolute power.
They want absolute power.
I think this is at a stage where a government has lost its right to govern.
Thank you.
The Barbados Labour Party has surrendered. They have lost their... People are no longer, if they were before, people are not in the psyche, in the consciousness of this government. To me, people seem to be an afterthought or
about
last
power.
resort. It's about power,
Power.
not about people.
Power is an end in itself.
It's not a people-centered
Right.
government.
Right.
It's not.
And that's why, and I've said this before, this constant, everybody in Barbados wonders when an election is coming. And you get a sense that the government is hanging an election over people say, look, I've lived for a long time in this country, and I have never seen an era in which the people are fed this belief that an election is always around the corner. You feel that the government is about to spring it on you. Not for your sake, not for the sake of the economy, but for the sake of the government preserving power. Dr. Wickham always talks about the COVID election in which you disenfranchised thousands of people.
Over 7,000.
Over 7,000 people and won an election. Gentlemen, this talk of election, how does it? I mean, we're supposed to be ready in ourselves, and we are ready in ourselves. But can you feel comfortable? Does a country ever settle down when after 2.5 years everybody's waking up? Oh, when is she going to call it? When is she going to call it? What does that say about the mindset, the psyche of a people when you constantly on edge and you have an election on your mind? What does that say about the state of a country, the state of people's consciousness?
I think I'll take that one.
Yes, please.
I think first on the onset, just for education, and we all know that the purview to call an election within the Westminster system, both in the United Kingdom and here in Barbados, is the purview of the Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister can call an election,
Yes.
can dissolve Parliament. But I agree with you that it seems to be a bit of a tool
Yes.
to keep everyone on edge. And
Yes.
and I'll
Tool
say
or
this,
weapon?
a weapon.
Mhm.
And I'll say this because given the results of the last two elections, and I think I said this in the speech when I accepted the nomination, the government has enjoyed the support of the Barbadian people in both those elections to the extent that they have a supermajority in the parliament.
Yes.
And I think that absolute power seems to have brought the government to a place where they take the support of the people for granted. They expect that the people will continue to support them. I likened the speech by the Prime Minister on Sunday night to a little boy who went next door, threw some rocks and broke out the neighbor's house and came home, and the mother had to come and pay for the damage with political capital. And you watch it all the time where we're using this sense of the personality and the person that the people like
Mhm.
and have put their confidence in, come and say
Mhm.
everything is okay,
Mhm.
everything is okay,
Mhm.
and you pay it with political capital.
Yes.
I want to add my voice to the chorus of my colleagues tonight to say this. Be careful in giving absolute support to any one person to the extent that you lose your ability to be objective thinkers
Mhm.
and the ability to demand accountability from the government in power.
Mhm.
We have a constitutional right to vote, and along with that constitutional right, we have a responsibility to ensure that our vote matters, having examined and brought the government to accountability. I'll go as far as to say this, and my Democratic colleagues, my Democratic Labour Party colleagues may not love what I'm going to say. But in 2018, the Frondell Stewart-led administration had to bring their report card to the citizens of Barbados, and they were graded on that. This government is no different. The Mayor Motley-led administration has to bring a report card to the people of Barbados
Mhm.
for their stewardship of this country over the last 7 years.
Mhm.
Do not allow a government to suggest that they do not have to be accountable simply because they have enjoyed your support.
Mhm.
And that is what is happening now. They are behaving as if we will always be in a position where we're going to gain the support of the voters. That's not true. And I say to the voting public of Barbados, hold your heads up and demand that this government is accountable. When you have an attorney general and a home affairs minister that can stand in the parliament and mislead the parliament and mislead the people of Barbados, that is a government that is complacent. That is a government that has now sat down on their laurels and realized that we don't have to be accountable to the people of Barbados. And I say to the people of Barbados, do not let that happen.
Mhm.
Let us stand up, examine what the government is doing, examine it with clarity and with cogent thought, examine it and bring this government to account for their stewardship of this country.
Thank you very much.
Well said.
And this question goes out to any of you. Has any of government's criminal legislation been successful? I think I always speak about the new Bail Act, which replaced the old Bail Act and did nothing more except occupy a few pages more. Not even a ripple. Hasn't been successful.
I think what the government is doing is, because this government tends to rely a lot on PR.
Yes.
They rely a lot on messaging.
Yes.
They employ
How it makes you feel as opposed to how it makes you think.
which is
It's a feeling government. and not a
part
thinking.
of the process is how the people feel.
Yes.
They employ all sorts of social media influencers
Diversions,
to
entertainment.
put out a message, entertainment, all this sort of thing. And the way they're going about crime prevention legislation is no different. It's a lot of PR. It's a lot of giving an impression
Mhm.
that we're doing a lot. Have you ever been in an office with an employee or a colleague who does nothing but just seems the most busy in the office? Have you ever been in an office like that? Where their desk is always messy, full of papers, and they're always busy, but then when you ask them for a result, you can't get it? This is what this government is like. They seem busy.
Busy.
They're bringing all sorts of legislation, so have papers all over the place. But has there been any real impact on crime?
Corey, not only legislation, regathering,
Parties.
parties.
And again, we don't want to seem as an administration that wants to fight against merriment or that people can enjoy the festivals and whatnot. Yes, but when the music stops, then
Yes.
what?
Life, you got to face your life.
You have to send school children and
face your reality.
Can you
Yes.
afford that?
Precisely.
You have groceries to buy. Can you
Precisely.
afford that?
Yeah.
Young men, the news reports, if they're to believe this afternoon, another set of violent crime in Christchurch
Yes.
this afternoon.
Yes.
You know, it begs to wonder if this government is just about smoke and mirrors, or if they're about serious governance of this country. And I believe that it is incumbent also, and I'll bring us all to responsibility. Is it incumbent upon all of us here that are candidates within the next general election and all of our colleagues to ensure that we hold this government's feet to the fire? We have a responsibility as well
Yes.
to the people.
Yes.
So when I hear people talk about political points, it's no.
Political
This is
what?
trying to score political points. I say, no, this is an opposition. Granted, 1 seat in the lower house, 2 senators who do an excellent job.
Thank you.
But we also have a responsibility to continue to dive into legislation,
Yes.
dive into the policies of this government and ask the government and present to the people in a way that the people can understand and present to the people an option so that they will know, listen, we hear what the Democratic Labour Party is saying and we are going to hold our government accountable. And I think that's our responsibility. So, and I say all that to say, then that nullifies this constant threat of an election.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Because if the government understands that they are always under scrutiny,
Yes.
they can't just snap and say, okay, we're going to get an election because nobody's looking. It gives us the opportunity to say, no, we are paying attention. And the people of Barbados are paying attention, and we're going to hold you to account.
In other words, spend some time governing and not preparing for an election.
Yes.
Because when you prepare for an election, you engage in fooling people, spectacle.
Yeah.
Oh, and things are so bright, and you do the crop over big, and you do the regathering, everything. You paint the benches red, and it's about appealing to the sensations as opposed to reason and the intellect. You want to say something, J. Scott?
No, I was going to ask Corey, what part of that would you want me to disagree with?
Well,
I mean,
not a thing.
Corey, you are spot on, right?
Come back down to the person you were just at. Yes, sorry, Ainsley.
But
Michelle was asking a question.
okay.
Could you make it so I can read it, please? It seemed
Talks
interesting.
about the bill.
Yeah. Does this bill explain when evidence / conversation is collected, the process of how it is sanitized? You got to make it bigger. I can read, but not from so far.
Oh, information is.
All right, let's summarize it. Korean gentleman and Ainsley.
You're saying how the information
I don't think the bill goes
is deemed
into
applicable.
the mechanics of evidence. The mechanics of evidence would be dealt with in the Evidence Act and the common law relating to evidence. So this bill itself would not deal with evidential matters. That comes from a very large volume called the Evidence Act. And,
What it does, though, opposition leader, is that it does require
yes.
that if you collect, and I think that may be the tenet of the question. If you
destroy.
Go back to the question, please.
What it does provide, the bill does provide that if you collect information that is not going to be used.
Yes.
So if
Yes.
you are phone tapping John Doe and you got the evidence that you need, if there are peripheral information
Not
that
needed.
you have required. So if you pick up John on the phone trying to make a date with his girlfriend for the night, that information is not pertinent to your investigation.
Yes.
The bill requires that is destroyed immediately. Immediately.
Does the bill say anything about the process of this?
It does not speak to the
Under
process.
supervision?
No.
Because the public will want to know that.
Right.
If I have something on someone, John Brown, I want to be able to give John Brown the assurance. Look, John Brown, I had some stuff on you, some material on you. It wasn't pertinent to any criminality or any investigation. I am going to destroy this. And you, John Brown, you have the right to come to the area of destruction and witness the destruction so that you're satisfied.
The other
Should a proper piece of legislation be addressing it in that way?
it
Giving
could,
the person the right to observe the destruction of evidence pertaining to himself.
and remember the granular details of a bill could be formulated within regulations.
Yes,
And
you do regulations.
You do regulations. So the
Yes.
proper bill itself may not go into that
Not the
granular
bill.
detail, right?
Yeah.
The other part that I wanted to mention is that the bill also provides, and this may go to the question that the viewer is asking, what the bill does provide also that if you have done the interception of the communication and you have come to the conclusion
Yes.
that there is no criminal proceedings that are going to come out of your
Yes.
investigation, all of the information must also be destroyed once you come to that conclusion, immediately that information needs to be destroyed, right?
So that, Corey, this bill and the regulations to which we refer, and to remind the public that the act itself is, that contains the fundamental principles of law.
Yes.
But when we say regulations, These are a set of rules that accompany the Act of Parliament or the bill that speak to the mechanics, the
Yes.
operational aspects of the thing. And these regulations at the end of the act should have been far more extensive to
Yeah,
give
well,
assurances to the public.
Yeah, they would need to be.
I mean, because this is very sensitive stuff. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that's fine. I agree with you. The regulations would have to give the detail of how the bill operates.
So that it is deficient, even in terms of its length.
Yeah.
It does not give the public assurances
Yeah.
that their rights will be protected, their right to privacy. As you say, you don't use material, destroy it.
Yeah.
And tell John Brown, come in, I have something here on you. I did it with a warrant from the court. But in spite of my best efforts, we have nothing on you. Even hand it to the person.
What I want to make clear though is that the bill in its general structure has the potential to be a good piece of legislation.
Yes, which is why we support.
Right.
the-
That's why we
the
want
measure.
to continue to make sure that the public understands that.
Yes, that we support
That we support surveillance
against criminality.
and common sense legislation to fight crime.
Yes.
But we continue to point out that there are a lot of deficiencies. So while, for example, the mechanism which it says, because I went through it and to make sure, it says that the information must be immediately destroyed. That's a good thing,
Agreed.
right? If you're not going to do criminal proceedings, it must be immediately destroyed.
Mhm.
So there are good provisions.
Yeah,
within
there are
the bill.
virtues within it,
There are very good
Yeah.
virtues within the
which we would
legislation.
repeat.
Good. So it is not to say that the entire thing has to be scrapped and you have to start from scratch. What you need to do is to go back such that a lot of the deficiencies that have been pointed out in the bill, that you can make those corrections such that the people can be assured that what you're doing does in fact protect their rights while you are trying to fight crime.
One of my concerns about this bill is that this is a very, very small society.
Yes.
And I have not seen anything in this bill. I don't know if this is the right word I'm going to use, that can block out favoritism. Okay, you're investigating somebody and then you realize that, oh, shoot, this is my cousin or this is somebody that I value.
Yes.
I have not seen any section in there to say, well, it is not okay to intercept private communication of this person, but I am not going to do it for this person.
Mhm.
How is that prevented?
Yes, Gordon.
Well,
I know it's human nature.
Independent.
And so,
monitoring.
and you can't legislate human nature.
right. That was the point I was
Right,
making.
but
You-
you still need to make some sort of effort.
what happens in our society is that we repose the confidence to operate the government within the functionaries, the permanent secretaries, the police service, the fire service. In other words, those functioning bodies themselves have to have rules and regulations on how they're governed. They have to have checks and balances. So in other words, for example, I would imagine if you have a section within the police service that is responsible for this level of investigation, I can't imagine that this would be something that would be across the full service. You would have it sectioned off in a particular way. And I imagine that there will be supervisory protocols in place
Mhm.
such that it doesn't rely on just one person making a decision. So again, that's not something you would legislate for. You would have to have a level of confidence that these arms of government and that these functionaries will operate in a manner and with protocols and with certain rules and regulations that you would have. I think at the level of the legislation, you want to make sure that you don't have a situation where there are these gaping loopholes to the extent that you can have people's rights that are infringed on a daily basis.
Thanks. And thank you to Rosaline Corbin. She's complimented you, gentlemen. Excellent free lessons, education, and takeaways on political literacy. Thanks for watching, Rosaline. Thanks for the feedback. This is our job. We're not here to receive, plaudits and so on. This is our job. This is the job of an opposition. An opposition is supposed to scrutinize government and to tell the people what government is doing wrong if they do something right. I've spoken approvingly of some of the legislation that has come. The disabilities legislation, I remember who in their right mind would oppose legislation that gives greater right to disabled people. But thanks, Rosaline. That's why we're here. We're here to educate the public. We have very little time left, gentlemen. I wanted to ask you, I think, Corey, you've answered that question. I was asking, what would you recommend in new legislation? If you can do a quick one for us.
Certainly. So what I've done is I've actually made a bit of a list of key recommendations. I'll just go through them very quickly. Some of them I mentioned already.
Give us a few, because we're coming back. We're coming back. Sorry to be doing this to you.
So, for example, we mentioned earlier we should extend the initial period of the warrant.
Yes.
Not extend, lessen, I beg your pardon, the initial period of the warrant. I don't see any good reason why it should be 120 days.
Right.
It should be reduced to, I think, 30 days, at a maximum, maybe 60 days.
In a small country.
In a small country. And what that does is that keeps the judicial process engaged. Because every time you have to get a renewal of that warrant, you have to return to the courts for permission to extend. Precisely. And you have to then demonstrate evidence as to why that should be extended. So the reduction of the initial period, we definitely want to make that recommendation. There's a progress report that the court can require once they've issued a warrant, but it is not mandatory. We would recommend that the progress report, even if it's not mandatory for the judge, a progress report should be mandatory to the Independent Monitoring Commission, such that they have upfront information as to the process that's taking place. Then you have, this one is a bit of a small loophole, but the final report, the legislation says that final report should be presented as soon as it's practicable. And that's it.
Yes.
Again, tighten up the guardrails as soon as it's practical.
Put a definite time.
It leaves you open to.
Precisely.
You might be a year down the line, you might not get a report. So we recommend that we say as soon as practicable, but you should not more than 30 days after the warrant has been.
These are the Democratic Labour Party's recommendations.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Again, we mentioned this earlier, that the Independent Monitoring Commission should have the ability within the Act to refer an infringement of the Act to the Director of Public Prosecution.
The DPP is completely absent from this legislation.
So once you have a criminal offense, and just for the education of our viewers, the only one that can make, within our constitutional construct, the only functionary that can make a decision as it relates to the prosecution is the Director of Public Prosecutions. So the functionary, the Independent Monitoring Commission, should have the ability that if there is a breach of the Act and you have within 5.1 that this is illegal, you can have $500,000 or 7 years in jail. Yes. They should have the ability to refer that to the Director of Public Prosecutions.
I'm going to stop you. Sure. You coming back. We're coming back. I don't want to overstay our welcome. We've been at this for 2 hours.
I just want to give the final recommendation.
Yes, give another one. Give another one.
Does not forget.
Yes.
This clause that gives the Commissioner of Police and the Director of Public Prosecution gives them personal immunity.
Not the Director of Public Prosecution.
I beg your pardon.
Director General.
The Director General of the Anti-Corruption Agency. So that's Commissioner of Police and the Director of the Anti-Corruption Agency. And gives them broad personal immunity should be removed from this Act.
Yes.
Entirety.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Marva Hunt, thanks so much. She's given us a vote of confidence. I like these candidates, honest voices for the people. I agree with you, Marva. These are wonderful people here. I'm going to ask them to do a wrap up. Damien, the young man goes first. First out of the blocks. Yes. Give us a wrap up.
As they say, the junior attorney always goes first.
Yes.
So what can I say that we have a box here? I think that we really need to underscore the authoritative actions of this government.
Yes.
They honestly do not care, they do not consult, and their actions have shown that they're not competent. They're not competent to lead the people, and it's time to get the change.
Thank you very much. Ainsley. Parting shot.
I
comfortable with this whole business? Should Barbadians go to sleep tonight comfortable that what was done on Sunday is proper corrective measure?
Barbadians should go to sleep tonight comfortable, knowing that the Democratic Labour Party is actively pursuing this matter and working on their behalf.
Thank you very much.
When we look at it, we can see that this Barbados Labour Party government, they are tired. They have lost their right to govern, as I said earlier. And you are seeing on display what the Democratic Labour Party has to offer as an alternative government. And I implore you, continue watching, continue looking at the Democratic Labour Party and what we are doing, that whenever that time comes, you can be assured that putting the Democratic Labour Party into the reins of government, you will not be disappointed.
Thank you very much, Ainsley. Parting words, Jason?
Barbadians, the interception of private communications is so fundamental a right because, well, it's not a right. The right to privacy is so fundamental that the interception of private communication must be scrutinized to the point that the government does not take Barbadians for granted. And I, as the candidate for St. Peter, will hold the government's feet to the fire. And I want to just ask those good people of St. Peter, when the time comes, elect me to office so that I can continue this work in your favor.
Corey, I'm coming to you. Go back to Everett Briggs. Everett Briggs, if that is the young Everett Briggs who has done some wonderful young man. He says, very insightful conversation, and he's in New York, watching from New York. Everett, you left and went to New York, and you have not told us anything. This is the young man who I think he was a part of the commission, our first session that gave birth to the Commission on Crime. Everyone, thanks very, very much. Enjoy New York. I trust you at university now. You're a very bright young man.
He's from St. Lucie.
No, he's not from St. Lucie. He's from Christchurch. I think Corey will get to know him. Thank you very much, Avron. Final words, Corey.
I will keep my final words tonight brief. And I will refer to a caller that I engaged with on the calling program today, who intimated that this was a victory lap that we as the Democratic Labour Party was taking. And I corrected him then, and I want to echo those sentiments now to say, this is not about a victory for the Democratic Labour Party. This is about a victory for every citizen in Barbados, having this Section 5(2)(b) removed from the legislation. But we do not bask in that victory now. More work needs to be done because there are several areas of this bill that still needs the attention of this government. We heard the Prime Minister on Sunday evening settled an invitation for the opposition to sit with the government. That is not the job of the opposition. This, what we're doing here now, is the job of the opposition. The job of the government is to govern. And we ask them to govern by withdrawing this legislation in its entirety, sending it back through the proper process, the proper drafting process, and the proper consultation process, such that we can have an actual tool that can fight crime and yet protect the rights of every citizen in Barbados.
Thank you, Corey, and we are not taking any victory laps. The race has not ended. The race would not have ended until justice comes to the people of this country. And it is clear that justice will only come to the people of this country when this Democratic Labour Party, energetic as it is, replaces its tired government. This Democratic Labour Party that has historically looked out for the interests of people. And this is a reminder now that our conference is this weekend. I think it is open to the public on Sunday afternoon from 2 o'clock. Please come. We have a brand new paint job at George Street. Beautiful. If you drive by, you can see it. but better than driving by on Sunday. You can park in any of the avenues. Members of the public, of course, members and supporters. Members will be there on Friday night. Our guest lecturer will be Carl on Friday. Carlos Ford, the eminent economist from Canada. You hear him on the news quite a lot here in Barbados. Carlos will be our guest lecturer, guest speaker on Friday night. And then on Sunday afternoon from 2 o'clock, please come by, have lunch with us. And then we will go into our final session, our 70th conference. At the age of 70, that's when you become a senior citizen. As a young party, it did so much. Just 6 years into its life, the government in Barbados liberalized education, and a short 5 years later, in 1966, took this country from a village to a nation. We have a lot more to do. We're not taking victory laps. We intend to be at the rendezvous of victory for Barbadians when this Barbados Labour Party is out of government. I'll see you at the conference on Sunday. Good night and God bless you.